too, and another one of those prime time top power teams, one of definitely the blue bloods. Notre Dame, ladies and gentlemen, have gone through some changes. They are perennial favorites and somehow don't get as much love as the storied program that they are. 11-2 a year ago, 6-1 at home. Only losses were to Cincinnati, 24-13 when they went to obviously the Final Four, and they lost in the Fiesta Bowl 37-35 to Oklahoma State, which was a
In a
very
phenomenal game.
exactly. So definitely a great year. But they also had another big loss this offseason. They lost Chip Kelly, their coach, or not
Brian Kelly.
Brian Kelly. Sorry, I was thinking
Yeah.
Eagles. Brian Kelly, their coach, went to LSU and even had gained a little accent and everything down
Yeah,
there.
Oh,
So,
that was crazy.
like, that's not your voice. What are you doing,
Yeah, I
buddy?
guess you do what you gotta do to get these kids to sign, right?
Hey, exactly. But he had that team dominating 12 years at Notre Dame, 113-40 record, two college playoff berths, one in BCS and one in the final four. They didn't fare too well. That's why there was a lot of interest in him going to the SEC because he hasn't had the most luck with against SEC teams. So it's going to be quite
Yeah.
interesting. His replacement, Mr. Marcus Freeman, former defensive coordinator of Notre Dame and Cincinnati, one of the youngest Notre Dame coaches ever. Very well liked by the players. I thought one of the best things I ever saw was that video when they announced him as the coach
Yeah.
and him coming into the locker room and all those guys just kind of, showering with love and hugging him and everything like that. I absolutely, yes, I know, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. I do NFL shows and college shows. He's been in both. I heard Kelly. I'm sorry, man. All right. But yeah, so this guy, he's about winning. The team loved him when he was at Cincinnati. He helped them improve. They went from at one point being like 4-8 to going through a span of 3 years where they were 31-6. You know what I mean? We've seen what they've done in the last 2 years, losing one game each year and hanging tough the year before with Anthony Handy's Georgia team, just barely losing that game. So he's well liked. He's got a team around him. He's returning a lot of starters. That O line, Alex, we were talking about that earlier. Joe Alt, Blake Fisher, Jarrett Patterson. You know what I mean? Like these guys are solid. He did lose. They are going to lose their play caller. They're going to lose Cone. 3,100 yards last year, 25 TDs, 7 interceptions. Ended up signing, I think, with who did he go to? Where did Cone go? Cone went to the Colts, signed with Indianapolis. So,
oh yeah, that's right.
I'm not sure he'll get any playing time, but now they got Matt Ryan and everything like that. So it's gonna be interesting. Along with that, as we also know, the early pick, the Ravens picked up Kyle Austin at safety. So they lost him. They lost Kyron Williams, the running back, to the Rams. So they lost a number of guys, even Drew White, signed with the Commanders. Linebacker, baby.
Oh.
Let's go. So he's obviously
player.
on my list of players that I like.
Yeah.
Let's get it. But they're returning some talent. At quarterback is Tyler Buchner. He's kind of got the head and shoulders lead over the bunch. And I think what's his name? Brad Pine is the backup. Drew Pine is the backup. So Pine got a lot of action in the spring game. It was interesting. And the spring game was pretty solid. It was a real small, close game. And at the end, the third string quarterback, Steve Angelis, on the last play of the game, scrambles out and does like a Tyler Heineke dive to the pylon to win the spring game. And I was like, oh, yeah. So the whole team
awesome.
like rushed them and everything like that. So that was pretty dope, man. But yeah, they got a number of players coming back. Obviously, the big name guy is a tight end, Baby Gronk, Michael Mayer. Number 87, great size, great speed, great hands. Definitely a NFL prospect. You got Jaden Thomas and Braden Lindsey, both solid wide receivers. that are definitely going to help things out. Jaden Dickey on the defense. Andrew Yanizak, they're kind of football, like fullback, tight end. I honestly think he's like one of those guys. What's the Kuschek for San Francisco?
Yeah.
One of those fullback types, one of those guys that's going to sneak out in the backfield, catch some passes, and then take the thing 80 yards. You know what I mean? I'm eager to see what they come to the table with. Like I said, they were 11-2. And back to this thing that I was talking about earlier about, a lot of people have been sleeping on Notre Dame, and they're, oh, Notre Dame can't get it done. Notre Dame, look, they've had some rough outings where they've got to the Final Four. But Chip Kelly in the last 5 seasons had them 10-3, 12-1, 11-2, 10-2, and 11-2. Like, these guys aren't losing games. You know what I mean? And they play. I know they're in the independent. They're not in the conference or whatever, but they're playing top tier talent. USC. They're playing big name teams each year. So, let's not sleep on these guys. And I think this year is going to be a lot of the same. However, they come out the gate and with a big name matchup. They're going to Ohio State to play them.
I can't wait for that game.
That is going to be
a good game.
I'm excited. I'm excited to see what that one, because I want to see. This is a test. That's a measuring stick. Let's see how good you are out the gate. Notre Dame, new coach. Let's go. So let's see if they can pull that one out. Then after that, they go up and play California. I think they can get that W. They play my Tar Heels on the 24th, 2 days before my birthday. Sorry. I know I'm doing a preview on you guys. You're taking the L, baby. Taking the L. Let's go. No, but we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. We lost our best, brightest piece. Go up against a BYU team that's been good in the last couple of years, but lost a couple pieces in the draft. Stanford, UNLV, Syracuse, Clemson. Honestly, I'm seeing them go about a 10-3. I think, honestly, it's going to be a little bit of transition, and coming out the gate, talking about going up against Ohio State. Oh, Marshall's in that mix as well. Going up against Marshall, who was no slouch last year. Ohio State wasn't. We'll see about Cal and my Tar Heels. But, hey, Mac Brown always has a team ready to go, ready to play. This will be a big-time game for us. So that month of September is going to be interesting. But if they get through that, I can fully see them, 10-3, definitely get into a New Year's Six bowl and starting off the Marcus Freeman era on a good note, So I'm ready, man. I'm ready because look, I'm somebody that, way back in the 90s when I had the little box TV that got like 4 or 5 channels. One of the channels I got on Saturday morning was Channel 4, NBC, Notre Dame. And that's, Tim Brown, Rocket Ishmael, all those guys, Jerome Bettis, Ricky Waters. That was that time when it was like, yes, I love Notre Dame. And I hate that, like, they've gotten such a bad rap over the years because obviously once they get to the, the big games, they seem to choke. But at the same time, I'm like, these are my guys, Nuke Rockne, Rudy, Lou Holt. You know what I mean? So I've always been in love with Notre Dame. So I'm hoping they do something. They bring it back. And Marcus Freeman, I love what I'm hearing about him. So let's see if they could take it to the next level.
It'll be curious to see if we do, talking about earlier topics, the conferences where Notre Dame will fall being an independent in those conferences. I'll be curious to see if they go Big Ten, they go SEC, they go where they go, because they're going to have to pick at some point.
And see, that's the other thing, because in basketball, they're technically in the ACC.
Yep.
Because they play with us in basketball, but I'm wondering if they move maybe to the Big Ten, especially if the ACC eventually does dissolve or goes into these other 2 conferences. I'm wondering just how that'll play out. It's going to be very interesting.
Hey, I have a lot of Notre Dame fans in my family.
Oh, yeah.
I have a lot of family right at that Indiana-Michigan border.
Oh, yeah.
And one of my favorite uncles is a huge Notre Dame fan.
I can dig it.
So I have to hear about Notre Dame. Trust me.
I love
and I have a good
matchups.
Catholic family, so of course they like Notre Dame.
Yeah.
One of the movies that my mom got me when I was very young on VHS that I still watch to this day, Rudy.
Yeah.
Just
I
Rudy
love
by
that
Rudy Rudiger.
movie.
That movie just
Such a
did
good
something to
movie.
me. Yeah.
And you're rocking at some of the best pregame speeches of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I absolutely love it. I love that. That to me is college football, though. That was
Yes.
always so fun. NBC Saturday morning, getting up, watching Notre Dame, watching all the different things in college football. I loved it. Every stadium. Oh my God. Every single stadium, the way it's erected, all the mascots, the whole nine. That is college football. Like,
and hearing Keith Jackson's voice growing up, that's college
whoa,
football.
Nelly. Yeah.
Oh, I loved listening to a
Yes.
good Keith Jackson game.
Oh my goodness.
Waking up to, I used to watch ABC growing up because that's where Michigan played most of the time.
Yep.
It was on ABC. So their pregame and everything growing up was was what I used to watch. And Keith Jackson was my voice growing up.
Oh, I can dig it.
Thanks for watching. If you liked that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.